Welcome back to Coin Sense and Nonsense. We're going to take a break from all the coin roll hunting we've been doing lately. We still got a lot of boxes to go through. But what's more exciting is our interest in these guys here, or these gals, as the case may be. Standing Liberty Quarters. This is the actual coin that kind of started it all for me. I got this, I don't know if it was coin roll hunting, or I forget how exactly I came across this thing. But ever since I saw it, I said, man, that's really the coolest design for quarters. So I know I did a recent video where I tried to fill a book or get a head start on filling a book. I ended up buying a roll of coins from a distributor and went through and kind of got going on my book. Well, and I decided I can't really coin roll hunt and expect to get all the different ones I need to fill, especially the D and S versions, because most rolls that you buy now from other places are picked through already, so the coins that you want are already out. So the only way you're going to do it is to get Aunt Betty's garage finds or basement finds or something. So to that end, I kind of went for an eBay auction. And what do we have here? We have, the 27S gets its own special deal. And then these are, here's something from Kitty too. Yeah, actually, I hope I didn't cut my spleen or anything while I was opening this here. If this is the last video you see, I might have had to go to the ER. So yeah, these are the ones that I'm after. Also, besides the 27S, there are other ones that are scarce, and so we kind of bid based on current value. So here's a little chart I did, and let's call this Standing Liberty. Did we get ripped off? I bought a 20 coin lot, and it includes all these coins, and so type 1 is before they changed the design. Obviously 1916 is the first year, but there's no real chance of getting those. And so these are all the ones that are included. 20 coins, and then these are the grades that are listed on the 2x2s in the pictures, and it's blank for my grade. We'll see what those are, and the estimated value based on an older red book. This is the retail price, not the buy price, and this is for G4, so like kind of the lowest that's worth anything. Don't worry about the brackets or whatever. Those are for my calculating how much that was worth. So based on the G4 price, the whole value of the lot should be about $250. I paid a little more than that, but not a lot. And that's for G4. Obviously, there's only a couple that are in the G category, so let's see if these VFs really stand up to muster, especially the Fs or the fines. Let's see if I agree and you agree. So yeah, put in the comments if you think I'm off or the original grade is off. And let's organize. Alright, here we are, laid out, and this way you can kind of take in all the projected grades here, and can't really get an appreciation for it from this distance, I understand, but just want you to see what we're dealing with here. And so a lot of these, there's not a lot of, this one here is on the edge of G, very good, we'll see. This one is the key date, and that's probably the lowest graded of the ones that are here. based on what's written. Let's see how they compare. Alright, welcome back here to my Standing Liberty Quarter. Did we get ripped off? I rewrote the sheet here because it got kind of messy. So again, what I did, I've got the dates and then what the seller's grade was on the 2x2, what I think my grade is, that's kind of the new column. I estimated the value at G4 based on the Red Book prices, and it was $250. I paid a little more than that, not a heck of a lot, so we'll see what that last column is. I say it's the real value based on my grade. So these my grades were done based on just looking through the 2x2 before I broke them out of there. So now I'm gonna take a look on the microscope and see what's what. So the things may be up or downgraded as needed. So thanks for watching, and let's get into it a little more. Oh, actually what I wanted to show though is this awesome toning here. This I don't know if you can get an idea of it, but yeah, it's almost kind of got like a little bit of a rainbow thing going on, and this is the 1917 Type 1, and you know it's Type 1, there's no stars below the eagle, and actually this one's not in bad shape. So at first I had kind of thought maybe it was on the VG side, but I upgraded it a little bit to yeah, I think it's kind of close to fine. The top of the date is worn, which is kind of a bummer, but the detail on the reverse is pretty nice. So, but overall, it's kind of a cool coin just because of the toning. I don't know if you can appreciate it on the video. Let's see if on the black background it's any better. So, yeah, very cool. So the D Type 1 also is toned, but I don't know that it's, I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's, I think this coin might have been cleaned at some point. So, especially the reverse. So, it looks kind of funkadelic. So that's the 17 Type 1, 17D. The guy graded it at a VF. I think it's closer to fine, or very fine, but anyway, it's worth more, both of them, than the G4 price. So that's cool. That's a good value right there. Probably $40 for the D, I would say, but more to come on that. Rambling. All right, here's the 1917 Type 1 on the scoop, and you can see still the detail in the shield there, or the edge, and you can also see the sash separated from the body, so that's a good sign. That kind of leads it more towards a F grade, and my big fat finger in the way. And then on the reverse, if there's still a lot of feather detail on this right wing, or what's our right, then that's a good sign also towards fine. So I kind of lean towards fine on this one. Alright, and here's that 1917D Type 1. And the top of the date is worn, but there you can see the D just to the upper left of the date. But overall, this one's in very good condition, or I would say VF. The shield is separated. You can definitely see the sash separated. It's got some toning for sure. The back, unfortunately, looks like it's been cleaned. I don't like that. So definitely that detracts from it. You can almost see maybe brush marks or something there. So unfortunately, that is kind of removes some value from it, but overall the condition is pretty nice. Alright, here's our 1920. The date is very worn on this one, but you can make out the 0, and so that's kind of a more rare coin. However, the condition on this one is a little on the rough side. you don't have the definition of the sash and the body, and kind of lost some of the edge. Although you can still see the edge of the shield, which is cool. So, and then on the reverse for feather detail, on the right there's still, you know, a decent amount. So, yeah, maybe this one is in the VG to F category there. Might be more on the VG side. So, that's my take. When on the 1920, one of the things I forgot to point out, one of the few errors or varieties in the Standing Liberty quarters is a die clash on the 1920. I don't believe there's anything here on mine. It would be in this area. You'd see an inverted E and an inverted L here. So I think that is the area to check. Mine, I don't think has it, so bummer. Alright, here we are with the 1923 plain date. There's no mint mark there. The date is a little bit toasted, but still readable. And don't have any definition between the sash and the body, really, and a lot of the shield is toast. So can still see the head a little bit, and then on the reverse, yeah, a lot of the detail on the right feather is gone, and so I'd say this one is kind of more on the VG side of things. So probably VG, I guess. You can still see the edge. The edge work, or the rim actually hasn't kind of blended in yet, so that's kind of important. So I guess VG. What did I say here? Did I say VG? 1920? Yes, I did. 1920. Alright, here's our 1924 plain date, and the date is worn, obviously. Can still see a little bit of the rim work. But yeah, that's definitely on the faded side, and same with the sash. Can still see the division in the shield, so maybe it's a VG. Let's see what the reverse shows here. Ooh, a little bit of scrapage, and the detail on the right feather is kind of toast, so but you can still see the rim clearly. So maybe this is a VGF, more on the VG side of things, but not too bad. So yeah, and what did I say here? I said VG. I'll give it an upgrade to a little bit of an F, and the original guy said VF. I don't know about that one, but still better than, you know, I'm probably being a little bit harsh, but I'd rather be on the low side and kind of underestimate just for this exercise here, but whether I paid too much or not, so far I think I'm ahead of the curve, so we'll see. Alright, obviously this is the 1925, and this is a plain date, and it's kind of worn pretty severely there. Shield is pretty much gone, and yeah, not much detail. There's a few little feathers there on the right, but not much, and then the left feather, yeah, not, or wing I should say, is non-existent there for detail, and then the rim is worn into the wording. So this one's kind of more on the G side of life, borderline GVG, so just because of the feathers. So that's my take. What did I say here on my sheet? So this is, yeah, GVG. So I agree with the seller. Another little Standing Liberty fun fact is the way the dates are from 1916 to 1924, which this coin is a 1924. The dates were not recessed, and so they wore pretty heavily. But from 1925 on, they kind of recessed them a little bit and put them in a little box, and that helped kind of preserve them a little better for wear. So, fun little factoid. Alright, here's the 1926 plain date, and the date is still fairly crisp, and the edges or the rim is fairly defined, so that's not bad. A little bit of muck and mire there on top of Liberty, but overall not too bad. And the edge detail, or the detail of the sash and the edge of the shield, are not too bad. And got a little bit of the rim still showing. So yeah, so this one I guess could be borderline VGF, I would say, in my guesstimation, especially with some of the scratches and whatnot. So the feather detail on the right wing is nothing to write home about. So I would say that I'm gonna go a little downgrade here and go VGF on that one. Alright, here's the 26D, and we've got kind of some of the rim still distinct, but lots of scratches, and the shield and the sash, or the edge, is kind of lost there. If I can get my fat fingers out of the way, everybody else can see. So yeah, some of the rim or the edge is kind of worn. And then on the reverse, we've got lots of scratches and not much detail there. And then the rim is kind of blending in with some of the stars and a little bit of the wording there. So I would say VG on this one is about right. And I guess, yeah, I go with that. Alright, 26S, and you can see some of the stars have kind of faded out here, kind of at the bottom, so that's kind of a bummer, but the date is still nice, and you can still see the rim fairly well. Not great, but not bad. And then, yeah, the sash and the shield edge are toast, so that kind of dumps it down to the VG. Yeah, actually this is a lot of loss of detail here on the reverse, so yeah, I'd say this is a G coin, GVG at the most, but more on the G side of things. And so 1926S, the original seller said fine, get out of here. So yeah, I think we're more in the GVG category, and the VG is generous. So I know the 26 is somewhat scarce, but or 26S, but let's not go fine on that one, I don't think, man. So nothing against the seller, of course, and yeah, like I say, this I knew in the beginning I might not get full value for my money, but I'm happy so far. I think I'm ahead of the game. So yeah, plus I got a whole lot all at once. Alright, here's the 1927 plain date, and yeah, kind of worn stars here, so, and the mint mark would be here if it was. So what's interesting is the stars wear out, but the mint mark usually stays pretty well if it does exist. So yeah, the sash and the shield, the edges or the detail border is gone. The rim is still distinct, so that is one thing in its favor for maybe a VG, but I think. Well, yeah, it's starting to bleed there. And yeah, the right wing definitely doesn't have much in the way of detail. And then the letters are starting to blend into the rim. So this one I would say is GVG, and this is the 1927, and yeah, so I said G. So yeah, I'll agree with the seller on that one. I'll kind of give it maybe a VG there, but it's mostly on the G. Alright, moving on here, 1927D. Some of the rim you can see is kind of wearing in. The sash is almost gone and across her abdomen there. The border is gone. Her head is kind of toast. So this is another one that kind of looks a little on the G side of life. Got some kind of muck there in the center. The wing detail on the right is gone. The rim is fading in there. So yeah, I'm gonna say G mostly on this one. I don't think it qualifies in the VG category, but let's see what it said here. Yeah, I say G. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, 1927S, and almost looks like there's some little bump there on the bottom of the S. I don't know what that is, but given the condition, who knows? So yeah, this one is looking a little rough, a little scraped, no real detail of where the sash and the shield are. The letters are starting to bleed into the rim, and God We Trust is pretty much wiped out. And then, yeah, so this one is a solid G, I believe. Whoa, yeah, definitely on the G almost cull category. So, but I will take a closer look at the mint mark there. There's not many reported errors in the series at all, so but I'll take a look at that one and see what's up. Almost looks maybe inverted S, but I don't think there's one for this. So okay, here's the 1928, and so yeah, nice crisp date. You can see the lower star, at least on the left. The one on the right is kind of wiped out. And some of the edge work still remains, which is kind of cool. So this one, I would say, is more on the VG side of things. I can still see the rim fairly clear. There's a little bit of bleeding going on there, but the detail up top is halfway decent. There's a little bit of toning coming across. Don't know what that is, but the right wing detail isn't great, so yeah, so this one is a GVG category, probably more on the VG side of things. So what did we say here? 1928, I said VG. Original seller said fine. I don't know about debt, so yeah. Okie doke, 1928D, and I can kind of see the star starting to fade out there. This one's gone. Date's still halfway decent, so that's in its favor. The edges are still halfway decent. Her head's not all crushed. It's a little scratched, and the sash is barely visible. Got some shield detail, so maybe this one is a, well, let's look at the reverse here. Ooh, yeah, not a lot of, get my finger out of the way if I would. A lot of right wing detail is gone, and yeah. So this one, the edge is still, yeah, it's starting to blend in there. So I would say VG, not quite F, but VG, and yes. Okay, 1928S, and for me this one's one of the more exciting ones. I think I might have actually one of the varieties. If you look at the S mint mark here, I believe this is the S over sideways S variety. The condition obviously isn't the greatest, and 1928S is on the more scarce side. So yeah, condition is a little on the rough side. There's some scrapes and whatnot. Ooh, lots of scrapes. And really no detail there. So this one is kind of in the G zone. Would almost be, ooh, yeah. Definitely G. Because of all the scrapes, I'll not even bother with the edge work and all that. But that mint mark situation makes it interesting, so I'll have to follow up on that one a little more. But what did I say here? Okay, so that's, I think, S over slanted S. And the seller said GVG. I say G almost cull. So that's sad, but true. Alright, here's my 1928 S over possibly sideways S, I don't know, or slanted S, I don't know what they call it. Looks a little mucked up, but again with this condition, I don't think I could claim much. Alright, 1929, plain date. The lower stars are definitely gone, goodbye. And then the rim, also not so good. But, yeah, so this one here is looking a little G-ish also. Yeah, not a lot of detail on the right wing. And, sorry for all the glare and everything here, this is a bad one. Lots of interference here for some reason. Looks like a paper towel. So, yeah, not so impressed overall here, but yeah, I'd say it's G, borderline VG. So what did we say here in our master sheet here? We said G. So yeah, I'm going to stick with G. Alright, and here's the 1929D, and the lower stars are at least visible. The one on the left is a little better, as you can see. So some of the rim edge work is still there, I like that. So this one, the center, the abdomen and everything is not great. You can kind of still see the border of the sash, so that's kind of okay, but a bit of junk on the shield. And then what do we have here on the reverse? I'd say, yeah, I guess VG, maybe right, we were talking about the 29D when I got cut off there. Ran out of film. No, I had no storage left, so sorry about the glitch. So this one, maybe VG, borderline F. I don't think F. Probably VG is generous. So, what did we say here? 29D. That guy said, the seller said VF20. I don't know about that. I think more down that avenue. Alright, here's the 29S, and this one's definitely worn down there into the rim. There's a little bit of edge detail, but not a heck of a lot. 29S has an interesting variety, we'll come back to that, but yeah, the center detail is pretty much gone, so this is VG at best, possibly more like a G. And the variety on this one, or the possibility, is a die clash. You might be able to see, if it did have it, some stars here, or a star there. And then down by the knee here, there would be an inverted E. And I don't know, that kind of almost looks like a shadow of one. And an inverted L. So with this quality, I'd be dreaming to suggest that I had it, but it looks suspicious. But anyway, this is a GVG at best. And what did I say here? I said G. Yeah, and so the original seller said fine, very fine. I don't think so. Okay, we're coming down the home stretch here. God bless you to those who have hung in this long. So this is 1930, plain date. The lower stars are worn. The rim is there, but not great. And then the center details, kind of not so cool, but you can see the outline of the shield, and then the feather detail on both wings is a little on the suspect side, and we're kind of wearing into the lettering. So this one's kind of on the VG side, I would say, probably VG. So 1930, the seller said VF20, I say VG. So, alright, this is the last one. This is the 1930S. There is no 1930D. And this was the final issue of the Standing Liberty Quarter. This one looks a little mucky, but it's actually not too bad. The center detail is kind of lost, but this one has some interesting rainbow toning I'll show you in a bit. But as far as grading goes, this one is kind of on the VG side, I would say. Still have the rim detail. It's not bleeding yet. So, yeah, I'd say it's a VG. And what did I say? I said a VG to an F. So, yeah, I don't know if we can see it or appreciate it, but there is some cool rainbow-ishness. So, I like it. So, let's figure out what the real, or what the other value is, and I think we already came out ahead, so that's cool. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention the variety on the 1930S is an S over S. So you would see kind of a smaller S over the larger S, and something looks like it's going on there with mine, so I'm going to zoom in for a little better view. Well, now that I zoom in a little closer, I don't think it's really anything in the variety zone, so it just looks junky. Alright, let's put a wrap on this thing here. So, I kind of revised the estimated value because I got a new red book for 2019, even though it's 2018 now. Anyway, my final value, oh actually I didn't revise this one, but it's less than that. But this is the actual value based on my grade, and 341.50 is the red book value, and I paid so much less than that. I paid a little more than this, but a lot less than that. So I'm happy. Didn't get ripped off, I don't think, and I got some cool coins, and I know I shouldn't touch this with bare hands, but that one's nicely toned, so I like that. Right, and one of the main objectives was to fill some holes in this book here. I'm obviously not going to get that one, and didn't do anything in this area, but from here on, might be able to fill in some of the gaps. So let's put them away and see how it looks after. Alright, now we got some in the book. So 20. Some of these I had already. I had both of these. One I replaced, one I didn't. This one I think was nicer, and the one I just bought, my original 1925, was nicer. And voila, that whole page is full now. So I like it. So we're getting there. The funny thing about this set, or one of the funny things, is this is the most rare or most limited of the mint. Well, in comparison with 1916. But anyway, this one has the lowest of the other minted coins. However, it's not the most expensive. Some of these guys here, actually this 23S is the killer. So until next time, coin sense and nonsense. And thank you to all who hung in so long. This is a long one. Bye-bye.